Gary Kemp, it's lovely to see you. Every time I see you, it's lovely to see you. And every time I see you, I remind you that you were on my wall as a teenager, which always does my head in.
Not literally.
No, literally. That's where you couldn't get me off this wall. There is something very weird about that, though, in life. Talking to the man who was in your bedroom on your wall all the time.
Yeah. So when I grew up...
who was on your wall?
Well, I was just thinking about this because we shared a bedroom until I was 15 and Martin was 13. And he had on his wall Bruce Lee.
Okay.
And we probably both loved Arsenal, so there might have been someone like Frank McClintock or the captain of Arsenal at that time in the early 70s, or Johnny Radford, actually, leaping like a salmon to score a goal. And but he was all very much Bruce Lee in football.
Yeah.
I was really into space, and I think I had this sort of famous picture of Buzz Aldrin on the moon.
Oh, my word.
I know I was really into it when I was a kid. In fact, so into it, my dad got space wallpaper for our bedroom of little men standing on the moon.
Little rockets.
Yeah, little rockets.
Oh.
And I had a record player as well, because that my dad had built into the sort of headboard area of my bedroom where my bed was. 2 little single beds, gap in the middle. My bed behind my headboard was a record player, because he'd upgraded his radiogram at some point and decided to sort of slightly dismantle the record player from the first radiogram and give it to me, because I was really into my music. And I had guitars hanging on my wall, and I had a dulcimer hanging on my wall. My dad... Sorry, I'm chatting away like that. I'm like giving you a space.
Hello, no, go.
So my dad... beautifully did this. So Sunday mornings, after David Kossoff had read the Bible stories, which he did every Sunday morning on TV, there was a programme for a short while on how to build a dulcimer. Do you know what a dulcimer is?
I have no idea what a dulcimer is.
Well, don't worry, I haven't brought it in.
What is a dulcimer?
It's like a folk guitar, but it's in a particular key. So it sits on your lap. It's sort of 2 little diamond shape it is, and with a set of strings and some frets in the key of C. And he made me this. I can still see it now. It was painted orange. And it was the first instrument I ever had, and I used to make up tunes on it. Oh. I took it to school, but I got a bit bullied for doing that once, so I didn't bother anymore. But and then, of course, when I was 11, I got my first guitar, and that used to hang on my wall.
What was your first guitar apart from the dulcimer?
Do you know, I don't know what the first guitar was called. I know what it looks like. It's an arch top, sort of with F-holes, like a little mini kind of cello-y type guitar shape. My dad had seen it in an electrical shop window in Holloway Road in Islington. And it was £5 second hand. You know, they used to sell guitars in like electrical shops,
That's extraordinary.
And he went, you know what? I reckon I could get that for Gary for Christmas. And I have no idea why. No idea, because there was nothing musical about our house. No one was interested in playing an instrument. No one played an instrument. The only instrument I was truly aware of was the piano in the pub next door, because my bedroom wall where I slept joined with the pub next door. And the pub next door was that pre-rock and roll generation, upright piano, you know, just singing old music.
My old man?
Yeah, old music hall songs. And a bit of American songbook, I would imagine, but Frank Sinatra or something.
And you could hear it?
I could hear it when I went to bed at night. Yeah.
So that was your first love of music, was it? And that record player, and then that guitar?
Well, obviously, because when I was 11, at the same time as getting the guitar, so they were about simultaneous, that I bought my first record, which was 8 Man by the Kinks. And my brother and I, we were working we were paper boys at first. He was very young as a paper boy. I think he was 9. I remember once he made the terrible mistake of getting up and going to do his paper round, getting dressed, walking around the corner to the newsagents, and just seeing the clock in the window of the post office and realising it was 2 a.m.
Oh no! Oh no!
Anyway,
We all do
but I
that.
was the head.
We've all
I was
done
the head paper boy, of course. Right. And he was a paper boy, so I used to chuck him all the papers and get him to
You
go.
were head paper
Anyway,
boy.
we made a bit of money.
No, you were, whoa. You were head paper. What is the difference between paper boy and head paper
Well, if you're
boy?
the head paper boy, you don't do the paper round.
So what? Then you're not a paper boy.
Well, I worked my way up.
No, then you're just a person who
Puts
bullies.
the addresses on the.
Oh, is that what you do?
Yeah, I marked up, got the book, put the addresses on the
You
top.
nice to Martin.
I can't promise that.
Did you make him go up to all the flats that had
Yeah, the
stairs?
top stairs, yeah. And so we had to give a third of our money to our mum.
Yeah.
So even when we were getting 10 pence or whatever it was, we'd have to give a third of that to our mum for keeping. That was my dad's insistence. And anyway, we saved up enough money to buy a single, and we went and bought records together, and we started building our, record collection. And I had this guitar, and of course, songwriting came into my life.
So did you start writing there and then when the guitar, that first guitar, that £5 guitar appeared?
Well, it was fairly quick. So I get the guitar for Christmas. This is 1971. 72. I'm learning the guitar at the beginning, and I learned 4 chords from Bert Whedon playing a daybook, and I know the period now because it's now approaching Easter. Because I take these 4 chords into my teacher, and I said, "Look, I've got a melody for them, but I don't have, don't have any words." And he said, "Well, it's Easter. Why don't you write a song about Easter?" So my very first song began, "Jesus rode through Jericho on his way to the cross."
Can you remember the tune?
I can remember
Go
all
on,
of
sing.
it.
Oh, sing a
He
little
met
bit.
blind Bartimaeus, who his sight had lost. Jesus touched his eyes, and Bartimaeus could see again. So Jesus rode on bravely to Jerusalem. I'm sure I plagiarised it somewhere. But
Oh my word! You were 11 when
and
you
then
did
I
that.
wrote another song immediately in a minor key called Alone. And I played that to my mum and dad, and they said, "You can't play that to anyone, they'll think you're depressed."
Oh my word!
But I did. I played it.
Can you
to
remember
the
that one as
school.
well?
No. But it was something about my only friend's a sparrow. I see him in the morning.
Oh, but actually, that's poetry.
Well, I
that is.
I think I understood
Words.
that. What it was,
Feeling.
why it's so important to me. I was discovering the bliss of creativity, and it was I could go into a room on my own, my bedroom. Hopefully, my brother wasn't there. He was be out playing football because he was a football boy, and it was just me and my guitar, and I would leave with me, my guitar, and a song. And that song was empowerment for me. It was a piece of armour that I'd made. It was something extra, and sort of like letters that go after your name, and that joy has never left me.
I'm going to say, is that still to this day? Do you feel empowered when? So this Destination's out, new album out. Do you feel empowered? I love that. Please say you do.
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I'm not in this industry now to sell lots of records and break the charts and compete with Dua Lipa or anybody, but I still make that music because I need to. There are certain people who want to hear it, which is fantastic. And I'm hoping that. Okay, so when I started this album, I don't think I was in the best headspace.
Right.
And I think I was really allowing everything to disturb me. So there were a few things. Post-COVID, obviously, lockdown, and wow, we're all vulnerable. I didn't realise we were that vulnerable. And then, I'm a doom scroller. I look at news a lot, and all of those awful things that happen in the world are actually happening in my bedroom at 7 a.m. when I wake up and look at the phone,
Yeah, maybe not look at your phone first thing in the morning.
Exactly. I'm working that one out. And there's that, and there's a sense of mortality I think you get. I'm in my 60s now, so you start to think about that and how much longer have you got and all that stuff. Anyway, I wasn't in a good space. But the real truth of why I wasn't in a good space is because I don't think I'd grieved my parents both dying, and they died within 4 days of each other.
I know. When you said this to me, when you came on my radio show and you said this to me, I could just, that the thing about grief is that there are no, and I say this often, but there are no rules to grief. And everybody thinks, oh, you should feel this, or why don't I feel that, or how should I feel? All of those questions. But what you went through is I mean, it's heartbreaking. It is. It is. Your heart has broken, and you have to give it that time to fix it. And and it's also trying to fathom it and put it together in your head. It's not just your heart, it's trying to sort it out in your head.
I didn't do it because I was grasping at all the positives. So I was thinking, well, this is what my mum and dad would have wanted. You know, my mum wanted to go after my dad. You know, they would have signed that contract. They were together for 60 odd years, you know, or 60 years maybe. And then my son gets born like 2 weeks later. And then I go on tour immediately afterwards with my band. Yeah. And my band knew my parents. All their parents were very friendly. This is my band that, I use the word my band. We can everyone in Spandau says my band, and it's like it's all their bands. You know, we all say it. You know, and it's a family as well. And it was a family that had been really broken and had argued and had come back together. And I went straight into rehearsal rooms. I think the week after my parents died. With Martin, and they embraced us, and we got on with everything. We grasped the positives, and we moved on. But I didn't go through what I needed to go through. Yeah. So making this album was, apart from doing normal therapy, which I had to do, and I realised recently, but making this album was also my own therapy. It was a way of just talking about my emotions, you know, sometimes metaphorically, sometimes in the third person. But every time I do it, and every time I made that record, I tied up another little piece of the problem, made it better. You know, I healed a little bit, and eventually get to the end of the record of the writing, and I feel so much better.
Oh, Gary, that's so wonderful to hear. Do you know, not only has it helped you, as you've just admitted, but it will help so many other people as well. So people that are going through what you've gone through, but also when people, I mean, you and I have spoken about the power of music. I love music. It takes me to a place, to a time, I can see the moment I was. I can feel it. I can smell it. You know, you're there. And music it reaches you so deep inside you. And you're going to do that. And your songs have done that for not just obviously the new stuff, which is wonderful, but all the songs over the years. That it's extraordinary. And I'm sorry that I've asked you this before a few times, and I know everybody asks you, but when you know that the music that is now, it's in history, it's music history, those songs, that I can't help but look at you in my head, I'm singing those songs that we all know and love, that they have meant something so immense to so many people. That must just do your nutting. I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you do feel a certain amount of responsibility, but you can't. You know, when the band split, you know, and then we don't get back together, and people start to blame each other for why the band isn't getting back together. People have got angry with me, like I've let them down because.
You meaning the audience?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Because we're not there for them to repeat those moments, to still be relevant to them and playing on stage, and time has stopped, you know. So I that's the negative side in a way, you know, and I feel, yeah, I am disturbed by that sometimes. But the positive is, the amount of joy that it still brings. The amount of times I've heard stories about, you know, that song is the song that brought me and my wife together. We had our first wedding dance to it. You know, when I stand in my favourite football club's stadium and I hear all the fans singing a song I wrote, that is the biggest thrill
that must be extraordinary.
Because it becomes a folk song, and that's what I think, you know, you feel proud of. Most people singing it out there have no idea who I am or what my name is. Maybe a lot of the younger people don't even know who Spandau Ballet is. So, but they know the song. It's become a folk song. It's become like one of those songs that I used to hear coming through the pub wall when I was a kid.
And also that first song, Alone, about the sparrow. You know, that's folk song, but it's here. But all your new stuff as well, I was saying, that's also going to help people. It's helped you, it's going to help people.
Yeah, I think you look for, you know, okay, I'm in a privileged position You know, I have a job like very few people have. You know, I've been successful in that job, and I have comfortable surroundings, and I don't have to worry about tomorrow's bills. That doesn't stop me feeling crap quite a lot of the time, but yeah, I think when you write a song, it's really about the simple, universal emotions that you're writing about, the universal struggles of self-worth, or you know, where do we find happiness? How do we make our glass half full? You know, and you can wrap that up in stories and present it in a universal way. So someone else goes, oh my God, I'm not alone in the world. I feel that as well.
Yes.
And that's all art is really for, why we do it, why it's here, because we want to know that we're not alone. That's why AI is never going to write lyrics, right? No one's interested in a machine. You're still alone if it's just a machine telling you something. Yeah. But if I read a novel or even a painting or a great song, I just think, wow, that's exactly how I feel. That's great. And you've just encapsulated it perfectly. And hopefully, as a writer, I'm giving that to someone else too.
But you also do that with your acting. So, I mean, I know you love your acting and, you know, Anna Scher and the people that came out of that. But your acting also does that to people. So they'll watch something that you're in and they'll think, oh, I've been in that situation, or sometimes you just take people and it's escapism. Acting is really important. I think performing is really important for us as an audience. We need it. We need entertainment. However, whatever you just mentioned, painting, music, theatre, live theatre. As you know, I'm a massive fan of live theatre. Television, my favourite thing on the planet. Films, all of that. We need all of that as an audience.
I love the theatre, so I love it. My wife and I go quite a lot. You know, I've been collecting theatre programmes since I was in my 20s.
Have you still got them?
All of them.
Where are you going? Where are you going to give them? You've
I don't know.
Theatre museum or something.
I don't know. I always look back at them and think, oh, dead.
Oh, no. Oh, that's lovely. Okay.
No, I do look back at them and think, oh, look at them, you know, what great actors I've seen. Wow, I'd forgotten I'd seen him or her.
Oh, no, we're talking about you as an actor.
Okay, me as an actor.
You as an actor.
I like acting. I like being able to be on stage and help present that story. I do like the theatre the best. That's where I really...
But you've done a lot of film.
I've done film.
And TV.
I like doing comedy with my brother. That was really funny. And we absolutely, you know, when we took the mickey out of ourselves and we did the two Kemp spoofs, you know, the Kemp's All True and the Kemp's All Gold, written and directed by Rhys Thomas. I love that because, oh my God, we just spent every day laughing. Corpsing is the best feeling on earth.
Laughing is the best thing. You and your brother, though, I mean, Martin and Shirley were on this podcast a few episodes ago, and they just... You have a lovely outlook on life. You all do like to laugh. You do like to laugh. Yeah. You also, you're going on about your age and mortality and everything, but you're still like a naughty teenager, both of you. You're like, you like to be naughty, and I'm naughty with a small n. You know, have a laugh. Yeah,
and I think it captured that on those two programs. I mean, it was funny because I took the mickey out of myself. You know, I was, you know. Yes, I am a little bit pretentious now and again. It's only because I'm passionate about art, and and some of that it might be considered highbrow. So we take that idea of who I am and we just make it even more annoying, you know. And then so we have this great relationship, but I think that laughing that we were doing, because we were improvising a lot of it as well, I have so many great memories of just my brother. My brother's the greatest corpser. He just can't control himself. And he just gets into, you know, okay, I'm all right now. And he starts blowing. Okay, I'm all right. Go again, turn the camera over. We go again. And the next thing you know, he's laughing. And it is just feeling in your stomach that you get.
But it's important, and actually, you know, you were saying you doom scroll, and the news is very, very bleak and very, very dark here in the UK and around the world, and everybody's aware of it. That's why I'm saying maybe don't look at your phone first thing in the morning. Try a smile and all of that.
Yes.
But all of the darkness, laughing is really important. Laughing is really important,
and in a way, you can sort of kid yourself into it, can't you? You can just, if you, like you said, smile in the morning, can fill you with certain endorphins.
Well, it does the brain. The brain thinks, says, if the first thing you do in the morning, this is actual fact, that if the very first thing you do when you wake up is smile, your brain then goes into, oh,
We're happy.
good, yeah.
We're happy.
And it's a great way to start the day. Even if things you've got to cope with, and everybody has a lot of stuff. There's no, I'm not saying fake it, but just for a moment, feel that little bit better. And that's what music does.
I think for me, I mean, I have a few little. Can I tell you? I mean, I have a few little things that I really love doing that change my mood.
Please tell. Right, what changes Gary Kemp's mood?
Okay, so sometimes I'm on tour for and with Nick Mason, we'd visited 32 countries together, and
not just that. I mean, you do music together. You haven't just gone
touring. No. So and it's quite difficult touring. You're with the same people all the time, and we actually have a real great laugh because one of my favourite guys to laugh with is Guy Pratt, but we all have a really great laugh together. We've got a great sense of humour, and I think when you know someone really well, you know all of their foibles, you know all their interests. You can communicate in things that I can make him laugh and no one else would understand it, right?
That's nice.
But,
like that.
But when I'm on tour, you're always being told what to do, where to go. And then I like those moments when I've got a few hours off and I just go and wander in a city and I don't know where I'm going. And right at the beginning, I remember guys saying, "Oh, can I come with you?" And I said, I love being on my own at this point. So if you don't mind. And I just like getting to a T-junction and thinking, I can go left or right now. And I go right. But I normally go to a gallery. I normally go and see some art, which I always like doing in a city. And I just think that just completely relaxes me.
How wonderful.
Just looking at some older paintings and, I know a little bit of art history and I just take that in. And then walking into a cathedral or a church. I'm not religious. I don't believe in life after death, but I love the experience of being in that atmosphere. Humans have created this place where we can contemplate, and to go in there into the silence, into that vast, sort of stonework that looks like you're in a forest, and to sit in one of the pews and just. I suppose it's a form of meditation, but it's within a piece of architecture that was built for meditation. So I like doing that. Yeah.
Maybe it's the silence away from. Because it sounds so cliche, but from the noise. I mean, there's acting, music, the adulation, the fame, all of that. It's quite noisy.
But also, you're part of a machine of people. So there's a lot more than... I mean, it's a great feeling being on stage. I mean, when you're making music or when you're putting on a play and it's all working and all of you are passing the baton at the right time and you're interacting and you're putting down a layer that on its own means nothing, but with these other three people who are putting layers onto it as well, it's incredible. And it's a cathedral of sound, so that's an amazing feeling. But you are part of this big group, so I need a lot of space on my own.
Yeah, of course.
So I say I write on my own. I need to. We read on our own. We don't read in a group, do we? We stand in front of a
book group. You can discuss
book
them.
Groups.
Yeah. But you were saying before we started recording, you were saying about how because so many people talk on this podcast because they know this is an open space to talk about it, shyness. And I would admit very openly I'm shy and I wish more people would talk about it because I think young people have a worry about it. They do have a worry. And then they think, oh no, you can't tell anybody you're shy. Hey, we are all loud and proud. And you're another one who suffers with, you're not good at parties like me.
No, it's funny because, I sit here gabbing away and everyone thinks, oh, you can talk. He's really good at that. But I mean, the anxiety, you can talk to my wife. I mean, the anxiety I get before I go to an event or like a premiere or a party, even a party where I know there's going to be a lot of people that you need to small talk with and walk around and I find that quite, I don't know what it is. I'm saying I'd much rather have a night in. That sounds awful, but I do find that intense. That's really intense, and maybe it's to do with this thing about what do you do and what do you do and what do you do. And what I really want to say is, well, I'll tell you what I do. I'm a dad and I'm a husband. That's really what I do. And all this other stuff I
That's lovely.
talk about and everyone wants to hear about or all of is just to pay for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's an element of that in it as well. My other place of joy is the countryside. And I'm an urban person. I live in
You're London born and bred.
London born and bred.
Yeah.
Why do I but I do love cycling and hiking. And I need that. Oh my,
Space.
I
You need
need
silence. It sounds like you need your time for you.
Being
You've got 500 children. There's a lot going on.
being on the bike, and I really got into cycling. I got into the camaraderie of it first. I got into hanging out with some other guys and talking bikes. And
Do you wear lycra?
I wear.
Oh.
I used to be a middle-aged man in lycra. Now I'm just an old man in lycra, right? So I like all that. I
You
like
like lycra?
It's
we're not,
practical.
We're not leaving
Gaby.
the lycra. Ed, who's working on this, he cycles everywhere. Do you go lycra, Ed? No, he's no lycra.
No, right, man. No. And he's probably got mud guards and evil things like that. No,
He's nodding.
I loved it. I fell in love with it when I was about 49, 48, 49. And I started just really enjoying the camaraderie of being with some bunch of guys, but also that silence of being out for 2 or 3 hours when you're not thinking about anything else, just thinking about the next 8 yards, right? But I love, cresting a hill and the endorphins, and then you look out and you see wonderful scenery, and you did that. You made it something that you deserved. So then my wife went, this is driving me mad. You going out for a couple of hours every Saturday morning or whatever. I'll get a bike. And she got a bike. I gave up all those guys, and the two of us go out regularly. We've been doing this for about sort of 8 years together, and we love it. And it's our real bonding time away from our kids. And we often get babysitters. We did get babysitters to come at 7 a.m. and then go out together for 3 hours. And she's really good. She's really fit, and we're about equal on the road. And we've done cycling together in France and of course in the UK where we do it out in the Cotswolds mostly, or the Chiltern Hills or something. We used to drop our kids at school with our bikes on the roof, head to the Chilterns, park up, cycle for 3 hours, and
how wonderful!
Just makes you feel amazing.
Look at you. I can see in your eyes when you talk about something that you really love doing. And it's as you did. It's that same look when you just said that as it was when you talked about the guitars on the wall when you were at home.
Yeah, no, these are the good things. It's finding the time and finding the space.
But you'll find time now, surely.
You
I mean, I know you're busy. You're always very busy. You're always running around. You're either with Nick Mason or you're doing your own stuff now as well. Are you going to be doing Gary Kemp
tours? I don't know yet. I'm
talking about yourself.
kind
That's
of
weird.
Seeing how it goes.
Yeah.
And it's my third solo record, but they were a bit spaced out. I did one in 95, and then I didn't do another one until 2022, which was
I was going to say that was only a couple of years.
Weird and a bit annoying, but I don't know whether that was an insecurity that I had about getting that, or the million of other things I did.
But you were also
Spandau back together numerous times.
Spandau back together. That news when that broke, because it was the row, the arguments, or whatever. That was everywhere. It was like suddenly everybody knew your business, and then when you got back together, it was a similar reaction to Oasis last year when they said they were coming out. Suddenly everyone was like, what? Spandau Ballet, back together. It's true. I remember the headlines, that's what they all said. They couldn't believe it.
I think that we had such an important, we have such an important place in each other's lives. If it wasn't for this disparate group of blokes, all had different tastes at different times, all were different kinds of people. Bands never form because they're friends. They form because he's the only guy I know who plays the drums, etc. And you become workmates and you become very close. But we change each other's lives so much. And the lives that all of us are leading now are because of what we did in our early 20s. And that to ignore that and to be enemies is such a terrible feeling, really. And all I ever want is resolution, because I know that, you can't end up your days with enemies. You can't. You don't want that.
Life's too short.
And it's painful as well, and it's annoying. And I can't go there because he'll be there or she'll be there. It shouldn't be like that ever. When I broke up with Sadie in '93, and she was with someone else, and I spent like a year avoiding that person and just delivering my son at weekends or whatever it was, and then not going in the house. And then one day I just went, I'm going in. And I went in and I actually became friends with the guy she was with. And oh my God, that was so good. That was so...
but you and Sadie are good mates now. It's lovely.
Yeah, we're a great big family. And of course the families it's really been joined together now with the birth of our grandchild.
You're a granddad. There's a granddad. You used to be on my wall when I was a little girl, and you're a granddad. You're still. I remember that poster, and now you're a granddad.
I know, yeah.
But you haven't really changed. I mean, it is. Isn't it weird that I remember that poster? I remember it, and it was and I wanted those shirts.
Do you know? Funny you mentioned the shirts.
Oh, those
shirts! I'll tell you something really funny about the shirts. Live Aid. I'm wearing a Jean-Paul Gaultier orange shirt that's got this slashed open at the back with a knot in it, so you can see my kind of shoulders for some reason. Bright orange. And I was at a party about 8 years ago, and I started talking to Paul Rudd, the actor, Ant-Man,
Yeah. Oh, I love Paul Rudd.
Paul said, I got to tell you something. He said, my son, who's 5, is obsessed with the Live Aid film. So obsessed, he got my wife to make an orange shirt just like yours for him.
That's the coolest story.
Yeah, it's mad that.
And that's never going to go. The Live Aid and the love of Live Aid, and that was all last year as well because the anniversary.
And the anniversary of Live Aid is this year.
No,
Band Aid was last year.
Oh my God, Band Aid last year, Live Aid this year. That's never going to... I don't think we'll ever witness or experience anything like that.
No, I think it was at a particular time. Music was everything, and the Brits were the most successful globally. We were just, this bunch of working class kids mostly. At that point it was, whether it was some kids from Birmingham or Manchester or London like us, just cockneys. And we were selling records all over the world in the mid-'80s. And Geldof went, that's powerful, we should use it. But he gave another gift as well. He gave an empowerment to the general public to think they can change things, do things with charity that goes up and over and above the government's wishes even. And I think that was the beginning of that sense of, empowerment Red Nose Day that comes out of that, and all of the different charities that have really done well post Live Aid.
It was extraordinary. And obviously you'll be involved this year with all the anniversary stuff as well. But what a thing to be part of. Mm-hmm. You've just been, you have been a part of our modern history. And I know that I love your Instagram when you do all your walking around streets. You've got to do more of those. But you're talking about how important the Sex Pistols were to you, and how the 80s were vital, and what it did for a lot of us young kids then. It was so important to us, the music in the 80s. Yeah. I'm now working on a station that plays 80s till now, and my 18-year-old daughter listens to Magic because she loves 80s music.
Yeah, it was a good time, and it was and the productions were really good, so they stood the test of time. Trevor Horn's coming along and he's making these great sounding records. You put it on a Frankie Goes to Hollywood record now, or an ABC record, or Spandau, they sound as good as anything you can produce now. So but once you go back a bit further into the 70s, it gets a bit thinner, so.
But you loved that though, didn't you? You loved the music of the 70s.
But of course, that's me.
Your big thing.
No, but 70s is me. I do that thing where I walk around talking about places, because they have turned into ghosts that are on the street, and London is always in flux. There's a track on my new album called Borrowed Town, and it's about that. It's about how we're only kings of the street for a certain amount of time, and then a new crowd come through and different ethnicities come through, and it's always in flux. My grandfather was an Irish navvy coming over, so, this is the story of cities.
And it creates such an amazing tapestry. Wow.
When I walked around as a kid, I didn't know that old bloke, same age as me now, fought in the war to save this town, so in the same way that people don't know who I am when they're singing my song in a football stadium.
Oh, they do. Everyone knows Gary Kemp. Thank you, Gary Kemp. That was a complete and utter joy.
Thank you, Gaby. Thank you.
Gaby Roslin.